Welcome to Everyday Enlightenment. Today I want to remind you of how powerful you are simply by where you choose to put your attention. Your attention is so powerful. It's one of your superpowers, and I really want you to be conscious of what you're doing with it, because where you put your attention alone can shift the energy of your environment. You can have an impact on the environment. And I talk about this in the Sovereign Heart School, which is a digital course I have open right now. I created it last year in 2020 because I was seeing a lot of people get wrecked emotionally and unable to manage their own energy for their own well-being and their own sovereignty. And so what I learn, what I practice, the basics of all of that stuff is in that course from my own experience. And in the Sovereign Heart course, I also talk about the observer effect, which is one I want to share a little bit with you about now, because the observer effect is quantifiable. So in physics, there is this thing called the observer effect, and it is the disturbance of anything, any system or any phenomenon simply by the act of observation. So simply by observing it, okay? So said in another way, this means that solely by observing a situation, that situation changes. This is measurable. This is measurable. Google it. Actually, DuckDuckGo it. Don't use Google. So and this goes for like whether a scientist is watching an amoeba underneath a microscope, whether it's your grandmother watching a sunset, whether it's you watching a protest, there is an effect that happens on whatever you observe. Kind of a big deal. So make sure that you are anchored in your heart regardless of what you are observing. So this is something to kind of take into consideration for every moment of every day, right? Always. It's a good way to live, because being in your heart, being connected with the truth of who you are, one, helps with your discernment, which I love talking about, and two, helps you remain in your sovereign power with your intentions, your words, and your actions, which is not only a benefit to you, it's a benefit to everybody. So currently, if you are receiving information about the goings-ons and things, if you're interested in that from a mainstream avenue, a lot of those 3-letter channels, know that that is not in your truth. That is not truth. That is advertising. As I've been saying all year, there is so much word trickery, emotional manipulation, intentional suppression, and just straight up lies regarding what's really going on in the world. Because what's really going on is a shift in power, a big shift. The shift. We are in the ascension, right? So this is the big shift. And what's happening is that institutions that have been wielding power in a very devious kind of service to self way for a very long time are being exposed, while individuals are coming together, they're unifying, they're reclaiming their power and standing in their sovereignty and saying, like, this doesn't work, no more, thank you, no thank you. And this is a fabulous thing. This is a very powerful thing. But you would never know that such magic and heart-centered community is happening around the world because it's not being broadcasted the same way the fear frequency is. Why is that? Why is this fear focus? Like, why are these entities so focused on fear, right? It's because people in the control of the things know that when people are in fear, they are easier to control. Hands down. And so as things have gotten more restrictive and more people, or as things have gotten more restrictive, more people are waking up. And that's amazing. This is what we're here for. Thank goodness. And they're coming together in big groups, in peace. They're standing in unity, yet this is not being shared anywhere on typical mainstream channels. So if you don't know what happened this past weekend in large cities of Australia, in large cities of Italy, in large cities in Germany, and more, and if you're in one of those cities, so much love for you. Go find this information on Gab or Telegram or Rumble, etc. Because there are beautiful and peaceful things happening that aren't being shared for a reason. Why is that? Well, it's because if each of you, going back to the observer effect, if each of you added your precious attention to what millions are doing in these cities with heart-centered 5-dimensional energy, it would have an even bigger impact, aka less fear and control, more love and unity. Yay! So do some research if you are unfamiliar with what's really happening, because be very conscious of what you put your attention to. If it's a negative energy, if it's stuff that like disturbs you, observe it, don't absorb it, stay in your energy and re-engage your energy in new possibilities, different alternatives that do benefit you, because you always have a choice. And you get to choose how you want to engage your energy and what you want to create and what feels right and in alignment for you. And again, if you feel totally lost or you feel like you'd benefit from ways to better connect with your inner peace, better understand your intuition, unlock pieces of yourself that you've always known that have been there, be more in your heart, I invite you to check out the Sovereign Heart School. So the link is below for that. But it's so important for you. It's so important right now because we have to know who we are. You have to know who you are, because the external reality has no truth unless you know who you are. Okay? So I cover all the basics to give you a good foundation for energetic and spiritual rediscovery, to remember who you truly are, because it's time. So remember to stay in your heart, remember to love everybody, and have a good week.